Alright, so I hope this is working. um, Welcome to, I guess, what will be my first Project Stardust video. And I'm gonna hope to go over the best-in-class ships in the entire game, at least in my opinion, which in my opinion is objectively correct. Alright, so starting off with the healers. Now, there are a couple of healers in each tree. I don't believe aeurus has any, as of yet. We'll wait and oh, actually, I just forgot. It does have some. We have the Rondosh, and a pencil just went into my milk. Okay, interesting. Should I still drink the milk? Not really sure. Fuck it, you only live once. Anyways, so we have the Rondosh, which I honestly, is this the best healer in the game? All right, let's go over the others because, I mean, we're comparing the Rondish to things like Spirit of Fire, can't live to save its life, 200,000 HP is a tier 5, I mean, just gets absolutely incinerated by anything. Mass Effect, we have the Raya, but the thing's heals are wonky, man. It heals really wonkily. I just can't, like, the angles that the repair cables fire at in their, like, range of, is just, something about it, it just never works. This thing can't move. It, it's a really good support ship, and we're gonna get into that because we have another category called support, which is we're gonna talk about like Ring of Fire ships, ships like this that are tanking. But man, I can't reasonably put it as the best healing ship. And I mean, space battleship, we have of course the Asuka, which is really, I mean, it's just outdated. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, it's just outdated. And then we also have the Mercy. Now, honestly, would I say the Mercy is the best healer? Mm. All right, so let's put this in perspective. 85,000 HP. It can loop. Gets anti-ship torpedoes, one of the best torpedoes in the entire. Sorry, anti-ship grenades, one of the best things in the entire game because I mean they pretty much always hit. You get like obviously 3, and then you get 10 of them. So you get 30 of these grenades. You're pretty much always going to hit. They go 3 to 600. I mean, just really solid damage source. And then the 20 centimeter shock lasers are literally just freaking overpowered. I mean, how these things made the game is crazy. Which is why they got nerfed so heavily off of. All right, let's put. So this thing is literally just the tier 5 Defiant without the activator torpedoes, which I mean you're rarely ever using because minute respawn reload time minute reload time, you're just going to get absolutely obliterated by hit scan if you try and turn around. I mean, it's just not wise to use them. I mean, they're functionally the same exact ship, but with 50,000 HP, but this one can heal. I mean, alright, let's just cover Star Wars next. Now, does Star Wars even have a heal? Okay, yes, it does have a healer, but it'll go into our next section, or one of our next sections, which the Golan is the only one that can heal, but I would mark it so as with the advent of aeurus Part 2 and the Maharag V and us getting a couple more actual like battle stations, I made a battle station category, things that just basically can't move, let's be real here, like this thing goes 3 kilometers an hour, this thing, or sorry, 3 ZKT, 3 ZKT, 3 ZKT, 3 ZKT, 3 ZKT. I mean, it's just not it. Let's just face it, it's just not it for if you're trying to be a dedicated healer. I mean, the industrial repair stations, they have pretty good range. I'm not gonna lie to you, I honestly didn't know that they had 12.5. That's interesting. That'll give it an edge over some of the other ships. And Expanse does not, I don't think, have a healer. No, no. Unless you want to call self-healing, but we're not counting that. So honestly, in my mind, I'm tied between the Rondosh because, I mean, the missiles 40-kilometer heal is just, I mean, I think it's just too good if we're talking about from a purely healing standpoint with the ability. I mean, I just don't think I can give it away. I don't think I can give it away to the Raya. The Raya is too slow, and you're not always going to be healing since it has 5 kilometer range. I mean, all right, hold on. Let me just spawn in real fast and in like just a random ship and just see how many people are 5 kilometers away from me. Let's see how many people are 5 kilometers away from me when I spawn in here. And nope, nope, out of range. He's close enough, and he's not. I mean, literally only one of my teammates here, and this is a sniper map, keep in mind, was close enough for me to actually hit. I mean, why? I mean, it's just kind of useless unless you're on Scare of Gate. I mean, let's be real here. Unless you're on Scare of Gate, it's just useless. I just can't give it to Raya. Raya, I might give it the best support ship, but it cannot be the best healer in my opinion. So I'm gonna put the Rondish as the best healer for sure, and I'll probably make a video on that one after this. I'll make a video on each of these ships. And none of this is written down. I'm just kind of going through and picking which one I think is the best, though I already know some of my opinions on them as I was writing them down. All right, and 4 snipers. So we just got the Longinus, which is, I mean, it's a pretty decent sniper. We're talking 15k every 6 seconds. Or no, sorry, every 4 seconds, which equals out to, hold on, let me pull up my phone here and just do a phone calculator DPS calculation, I guess. 15 divided 4, we're talking basically 4,000 DPS, which on a sniper is absolutely fantastic. With 90,000 HP and tolerance, I mean, we're talking about that being up there with this thing for the best sniper in the game. Now, which one would I give the best sniper in the game? I don't know. Because, well, let's just go over the other ones and I'll tell you why I think that it's between the DOS and the Longinus. Alright. Mass Effect, this thing, everyone knows it's poop. It's, it is 2,000, 2 kilometers long, and it is so fat, but it's, sorry, where is it? I don't think it's listed on here, the width of it, but I mean, this thing's just massive. And in order to actually fire it at someone, you have to show your weak spot. So it's just, it's not it. The only thing that's even like meme about it is this 80,000 with 500 meter per second travel time. I mean, anti-stealth missile, but that's just a literal meme. Like, you can't even use that. Halo. Sorry, I forgot there was another sniper here. Arid. Just made of paper. 31,000. It'll lose to every single other sniper in a 1v1, and keep in mind that if you're sniping people and you kill them, they will spawn in snipers to kill you, and since this thing cannot physically live against any of them, which is why it makes that is what makes DOS and the Longinus so good, is that they cannot be one hit, to my knowledge, anything other than the Onager. Which I don't think that the DOS can be one hit by the Onager, and I haven't seen the Longinus versus the Onager. I'm not sure if the tolerance is good enough to do that, but I'll have to test that later. And for Space Battleship Yamato, I mean, this thing is, for super, super good players that can absolutely drift around corners with the Saturn maneuver like an absolute G, maybe it's possible. I'm not, maybe it is possible, but I mean, it's just not it. I really don't think it's good enough. I mean, we're talking 50,000 HP. This thing does 60,000 damage every 30 seconds. So that is 4 shots of the Longinus. So keep in mind, that takes 30 seconds to do 60,000 damage. This takes 16 seconds to do 40,000 damage. This thing is just objectively better. And I don't even want to say other than the fact that this comes all in one hit, so that keep in mind that if you're constantly pew, pew, pew with a Longinus, like over and over and over again, you're more likely to get people's attention than this thing just shooting once every 30 seconds, because you're just shooting less, people be less likely to notice you in this thing versus that. Special, there's nothing here. I mean, I guess you could call the Zealot one, but this is more of a, it's just not, I would classify that as an artillery ship, more so. Alright, for Star Wars, finally get into the Star Wars sniper, my baby, the Onager. Now the Onager does the most damage per any um sniper ship, I believe. Um, hold on. So let's see how much it can do. Let's take the max damage. So we'll do 15 times 4, so 60. It can do 120,000 with it can do 120,000 with the 1.21 times multiplier, which meaning against shields it's better than the arbitrator, which we'll come back to. No, it actually can't. It'll just do better even without shields. I thought this was 128,000 for the laser. Sorry. Anyways, but the bad thing about this is that since it fires in bursts between 2 seconds, so this is 8 seconds just to fire, compounded with the 28-second reload. I mean, we're talking 8 plus 28, 36-second reload, which is miserable. I mean, it's awful, especially since it fires in bursts. Everyone's gonna notice you. I mean, you're super wide. So in this game, I would say the fatter ships. It doesn't matter. So this thing does have really decent HP. It has 120,000. But I mean, we're fat, can't hardly move. I just don't, man. It can live against, and it can easily 1v1 against every single other sniper ship. But because unlike the Sagittarius, which has 80,000 meter per second velocity, the Arbitrator, this is a laser. This is hit scan. This is a laser. I mean, every single other thing other than the Arid, which the Arid just has absolutely, well, it has absolutely crap HP and pretty bad muzzle velocity, we're doing 60,000 damage every, I don't know, 19 seconds if you're talking about shields, man. And that's good because it has shield gate bypass, which means we're one-shotting half of the Covenant fleet right here, who just basically rely on their shields only. So it's made of paper, but I think it might not, but I think it still does have the highest score value just because of how absolutely debilitating it is to get hit by that thing against your shields. And now this thing, keep in mind, I called that thing slow at 24,000. This thing is only 6,000 better. This is 50,000 muzzle velocity slower than the Sagittarius, man. It just takes forever. And so if someone is lagging or someone is looping, you're just cooked. Like, there's nothing you can do. And then the Expanse. We'll go ahead and call the Harmon their sniper. Just because it kind of has that sniper feel to it a little bit. But the faux hammers, 56 kilometer range, meaning it get outranged by every single other sniper. Less damage than the Longinus and the DOS, but it does have the most HP. Now, and it also has really good missiles with 55 kilometer range. And now that's important because we're talking about, I mean, even with hit scan lasers, people teleporting, it can mess up the auto aim, it can mess up hit registration, but missiles, which will always hit unless I don't know if it's still bugging anymore, where it's just like the missiles, if a ship lags through them, will just orbit them for some reason. I'm not sure, but I don't know if that thing's still around. But this is probably one of the best. I think these are my top 3, Longinus and the DOS. But honestly, since the sorry, that's not it. The DOS, since it has the most trolly shields, it can 1v1 pretty much every single other sniper. And it also has missiles, like, which was the good thing about the Doniger as well. But also outranges the Doniger while it still has less range. It has 55 for its little beam and 58 for its big beam, which are lasers. So basically, it's scan. I mean, I just think this thing is the most solid all-rounder, really, for the snipers. I really do think it is still, even with the the Arbitrator. This thing is just kind of a worse DOS. Has no shield, can't regen anything, just pure HP, 120,000 HP. This thing, 35-second reload, 35.5-second reload, which takes another 9 seconds because we have to fire it. I mean, this thing is the longest reload out of all of the snipers, but does less damage than the Onager. I mean, but the good thing about this thing is it can actually kind of defend itself, which is just normal armament, which is kind of trolly. You can kind of troll from artillery range. But really, if you're already in artillery range, you're kind of already cooked. Let's be real here. I mean, this thing, I mean, you have 120,000 HP, which is good for a sniper. But you'll just get absolutely incinerated by any good artillery ship of really any kind. So I'm just going to say that the DOS, which can stay back, it doesn't need to rely on those. And, I mean, this thing, there are guys, 23-second reload, but with the 4.5. It feels a lot faster than it looks like, I think, and it's overall just a nasty ship. It's super good. You just need to use it to know. I'll make a video on it. Alright. Now for our next section. We have the best brawler in the game. Now, this is a tough one because the Invictus, and now brawler I'm talking about, we're talking 45 kilometers and lower. This thing is a 45 kilometer. It just came out. Still need to feel it out, but I would say this thing just feels a little bit too middle of the road for me to put it as the best brawler. I mean, it's okay. It's good. It's just not great. And I'm not counting weapons or platforms or battle stations in this. For Verbum, I'm not sure. Would I count this more as an artillery because it's 45 kilometer range apexes, and then don't the macros have 42? What are the message ranges? 40. It's not the best brawler, anyways. I mean, we're talking 250,000 HP. I mean, let's go over to SBY. One of the squishiest ships in here, the Nudisura, is 220. This thing has 300 more, or sorry, 30,000 more HP. It's just not it. I mean, this thing is a super solid ship. It's just not at the level because brawlers have, I think, the biggest. They're obviously the biggest class in the game. There's 40-kilometer brawlers in every single tree. Even though the Expanses is literally just a meme. We'll get to that though. Jormungandr. This thing, since it's remodel, is just, I mean, a troll. I mean, look at this. In order to not hit this, you have to somehow hit right here or right above. I mean, this thing is just coated in armor on the front. Has two different I mean, you can also hit the wings. But, I mean, look at this deflection. We're talking 0% chance at 7,000 is just, I mean, with a 0.5 damage multiplier is just crazy. I mean, this thing having, if we're talking about hitting the front, not even accounting for the deflection health, 500,000 HP with some of the highest non-shield DPS in the entire game. I think this thing has, what? Doesn't have 10k DPS with... Yeah, I think it has 10k DPS. Hold up. I can check. Hold up, brain fart. Where am I going? Okay, here we go. Yep. Alright, let's see. 6 DPS. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Just absolutely wild. 11,000 DPS against Hull is literally crazy. And now I think the only reason I'm not going to put this as currently the best brawler is just because the best brawler is literally just... I'm not going to say it's this, but better. Because this thing, if you have if we're talking about, it's that... If we're talking Jormungandr versus something with just like a ton of volume, like the Nudisura, which it's heavy positron cannons, 800 to 1200, and the mediums 400, 600. I mean, this thing will just deflect every single bullet. I mean, it will just deflect everything. But there are better brawlers. Osa, I think this thing is the most overrated thing in the game. It severely needs a buff. I mean, let's look at its DPS real fast. Oh, nope, I don't want a dental ad. Just keep in mind, if we're talking about brawlers, they all have pretty much 45-kilometer and worse range. Laser DPS, all right, 4,908. That's a complete joke. Are you kidding me? The Jormungandr, which, all right, let's check this thing's multipliers, by the way. The Jormungandr, which its cudgels have a .4 times damage multiplier, has more shield DPS than this shitter. I mean, you're kidding me, right? People are actually saying that this is the best brawler in the, or like one of the best brawlers in the game. You're actually kidding yourself. Its missiles are pretty good. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. Can get up to 3,000 to 37 with 8 of them. I mean, you can hit what 10,000 plus damage on those. Pretty good. I think you can get up to 21,000 with them. And then the Kythex. I mean, bruh, you're waiting for 39,000 for 56 seconds. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. I mean, it's a niche thing to have if you have someone spinning in front of you, but if you don't kill, you're not going to kill them. You're not going to kill any against spinner. That SBY spinner we just went over for the healer, I mean, it's a tier 4 with 85,000 HP, and you're doing 40,000 damage with that. You're going to need to wait over a minute in order to kill this thing. And this thing's tiny. It has basically no HP compared to any of its contemporaries. I mean, let's be real. I mean, let's talk about literally the looper that was just added, the Hyperion. This thing has 100,000 HP. You're gonna need to wait at, hold up, math in my head, almost 3 minutes to kill this thing because the shields are just gonna regen every single time. I don't even know if you can kill this thing. It's absolutely garbage. I don't know what people even talk about that. Um, I don't know. Does Halo, are we going to count Pillar Autumn as a brawler? It pretty much just sucks. This thing will get absolutely eaten alive by any actual brawler worth their salt. I mean, speaking of the Jormungandr, will absolutely just, it'll make this thing cry to mama. I mean, we'll look at DPS for this, because I wasn't bringing up DPS earlier because it's more of like survivability with snipers and how good healers can heal. But with brawlers, it's literally about how good is your DPS. How good is your DPS is all about what brawling is. I mean, we're not talking about, oh, I want to live. How good how good can you loot? We're not talking about that. We're talking about how much damage can you do. Ah, bro, this is a deceptive number. Alright, laser DPS, we're talking about 10,000, seems about right, 11,000 of shields. And now, it does have a nuclear bomber, I do believe, but, so pretty decent DPS, it's just that 300,000 damage, 300,000 HP. I mean, and okay. Let's talk about this as well. You're saying here, uh, hey, 10,000 DPS, pretty good. 11,000 DPS, pretty good. That's twice as much as the Jormungandr, and this is about the same as the Jormungandr. Well, let's look at the range on this. Oh, 35 kilometers. 30 kilometers. This is where the majority of your DPS is coming from, these two. Literally just these two is where all your DPS is coming from, and you're not hitting them half the time. You're just going to get absolutely eaten alive. 300,000 HP, and you're like, well, that's about that. But this thing has deflection, and so this thing also has similar HP, 32.5. But here's the thing, it has deflection with 500,000 HP pretty much, effective HP. I mean, this thing can get that close. The Pillar of Autumn, yeah, because it has its reactor supercharge, which modifies your speed by 2 times. I mean, you can get that close. You're just gonna die instantly. I mean, you're literally charging in there to die. I don't see how people can. I don't think anyone is saying it either, but it's really just not. This thing is just kind of niche. I mean, the Loki hyper scanners are pretty good as an anti-stealth, but this thing is just, I would say, a more all-rounder ship than it is a dedicated brawler. And I don't know if I'll make a section for all-rounders, but all right, now we get into SPY. Nutrishimity, their most famous brawler by far. This thing, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a Nutrishimity hater. I was a hater for a very, very long time. And I gotta say, you've made me a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter. All right, we're talking armor. We have armor on the front, gives it a ton of HP. I think it's is it 300? I think it's almost 400,000 HP. Which, if we're talking about how much damage things like the Yorman can output, I mean it's just tons more. It's literally 25% more than the Pillar of Autumn just for free. I think. Hold up, let's check how much damage this bad boy does. Let's check. I don't think it's listed here. The DPS. I'll figure it out later. Yeah, it has really decent DPS. I'll say that. Has really decent DPS, especially for what it is. It's surprisingly fast. Look at that, 16 ZKT is not average at all. It has good missiles, 40. And now those things are meme missile range. I'm not gonna lie to you, it has bad missile range. But really, where this thing absolutely shines is that if there's an Akazi right behind you, if there's a looper somewhere, I mean, these things just absolutely, its spacecraft will absolutely just obliterate anything in sight. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy how good these things are against other loopers. It's kind of cracked. This thing is in the running for one of the best with the Jormungandr, for sure. The Maya, absolute meme ship. There's no way. Um, it's been buffed like 40 trillion times. Still sucks. You're too big. This whole game is all about positioning, and not even positioning, and also target acquisite, like what's it called? Like who you're choosing as your targets, because you don't want to shoot someone who's not shooting at anyone, because they're just gonna shoot you back. This game is all about managing how many people are firing at you, and this thing is pretty small for the HP pool. This thing, absolutely massive. You're gonna have half the lobby shooting at you as an XP pinata as soon as you spawn in. It's just too big to be actually good, and it's vertically too big. This is what people see. This is what I am having to scroll out this far in order to get it all in frame. This is what people see when you spawn in. They're just gonna immediately shoot you. We're gonna get into some other ships like, okay, let's just talk about Jormungandr, absolutely massive. This is 5,000 sorry, 5 kilometers long. But you're only seeing this. You are relatively not that big compared to you spawning in this gigantic thing that doesn't even fit on the screen. Which is why it's so much better. Alright, for our next brawler, and the Shunrun, I don't... Are we counting the Shunrun as the brawler? It's not the best anyways. It's really solid, but it's not the best. It's one of the best SPY ships, but I don't know if I'd call it a brawler. The Garaman. Now, this thing I would have said is for sure the best. However, unfortunately, 35-kilometer cannons. I mean, it does have that warp, but you're throwing yourself into the enemy pretty much alone with the warp. Everyone's going to see you unwarp and come out, and they're always going to shoot you. This thing's only saving grace is the fact that its armor is literally coked out of its mind. It's literally coked out of its mind. 100% chance to deflect that below 700 damage is literally insane. We're talking only heavy lasers can even hit this thing, and even if the heavy lasers hit it, we're talking about 40 to 60% chance at 1430. I mean, the armor is just absolutely crazy. However, unlike the Yorman, where this thing does have weak spots, right here are some weak spots, which are a little bit hard to see, and they're pretty tiny compared to the rest of this. The Garaman weak spots are absolutely huge. Everyone can see them. Everyone knows what they are. You're just cooked. I mean, you're just cooked. You have one of these little shitters come up beside you and just absolutely troll you for the next 2 minutes and just kill you while you can do nothing against it. I mean, it's literally crazy. Alright, that's artillery ship. It's a brawler made of paper. Super good DPS. Had the highest DPS in game. I think it still might. But you're just too made of paper in the current meta. I don't. Nope. Oh, taking a while. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, 13,000. I mean, I think it still does have the highest DPS in game for an actual not meme ship. I think the Akazi might beat it, but it's whatever. Yeah, but it's just made of too much paper. There's just no way. I could actually, I could in good faith put it as the best brawler. Now we get into Star Wars, which is where it gets interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. We'll start up here. Bulwark, this thing sucks. Let's look at your maneuverability. Oh, but would you look at that? Oh, you turn at the side, like literally the speed of a snail. This thing has 0.05 maneuverability. Let's go to the 5 kilometer long ship again and see its maneuverability. It has three times the maneuverability compared to this thing. This thing has decent HP and armor, but like, you're kidding me. Especially since you're meant for this thing, you're meant to swap. You're supposed to go head on if they have shield, and broadside if they don't have shield. You're meant to swap between the two. And with that maneuverability stat, it's literally just impossible to do. You can't do it. If you try, it's just gonna you can't fire. And in certain angles when you're trying to turn, you can't fire your gun, so you're just losing out on all that HP. Looper, beam ship. Um, hold up, let me check. Okay, we'll count this thing. We'll just count this thing as a brawler. It's 42.5. It's not that far off. This thing, honestly, really decent. I think, in my opinion, it's underrated. I don't think people use this thing enough. Obviously, fixed Dreadnought turbo lasers. They're fixed. The angles on them suck, but I mean, it's just a good all-rounder. Spacecraft absolutely eat up um, any loopers. Has really good missiles. The assault concussions are some of the best missiles in the game. Ion cannons, which especially with the arrival of the Kavdari are sorely needed at the moment in order to counter them. Now, I don't think I've seen this thing 1v1 in Invictus before. I'll need to test that out, but I mean, just a very solid ship. It's a great all-round ship, all-round brawler. Really good HP. Now we get into its brother, the Rebel concept. This thing is just I want to say it's good, trust me. I really do. I really. You have no idea how much I want to say that this thing is good. Its air wing, I think, is slightly. I can't remember if its air wing is better. I think its air wing does slightly more damage, while the other one has slightly more HP. But this thing, I mean, look at heavy ions, medium ions. I mean, just obliterates shields. This thing is probably one of the best shield killers I've ever seen. From a brawler, that is not the next ship we're going to talk about. But, it's just mid. I mean, ion cannons are super good, but I mean, it just does pitter-pat hull damage. Like, it just does no hull damage. Like, let's go over the... Discount prototype. Alright, I'm gonna finally settle the debate here. So, our our Viscount prototype. We do. I mean, this is pretty mad DPS. Let's be real here, but the air wing absolutely cracked out. I think I had it backwards. We'll see here. Yeah, look at this. 4,000 hull DPS. That's tier 4 DPS. It's literally, but just I mean, I mean, was I overrating both of these ships, man? I mean, this is bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. Looking at this, if something is not wrong with the calculations, man, that's bad. Like that is not good. And the fact that this is worse makes me sad. It makes me so sad because the total air wing DPS is just absolutely miserable compared to this. This just has a better air wing. Okay, this does have the better air wing, and this has the better guns. But if we're talking about it, I mean, like, you get 2,000 more air wing DPS for 400 laser DPS. I mean, they both suck. Now, I've changed my mind right now after looking at those numbers. They both suck, but this one sucks less. And now we go to this thing. Basically, cut its everything in half. I mean, all I need to do is just pull up one number real fast, and you'll see what makes this thing what made it so absolutely just busted. Okay, I don't know. Did this just crash? Buddy, can I? Oh, oh. We're having a hissy fit because it keeps trying to make me do pop-ups. Works. Yep. Oh my god, bro. What a sniper of an ad. Alright. Let me check and see that this is actually reflecting the. Okay, this is the. We're gonna be looking at the unnerfed version, so this is not the actual numbers. Ta-da! This thing has literally just insane shield DPS. I mean, just absolutely crazy. It's literally crazy. I don't. Which this has been nerfed. Thank the Lord. It has been nerfed. But it is still one of the best shield killers in the entire game, without a doubt. Like, there's no question. It is. And we're talking Maharabi, shield tank, shield tank, shield tank. There's just been a shield tank and shield tank. I mean, we're talking a bunch of shield tanks there. And then we go into Halo. This is why this thing is so shit, bro. Literally, completely relies on the shield. Has decent HP, though. But it is a shield tank. This thing, it's so good because it's not a shield tank. There are so many more anti-shield options than there are anti-hull options that, I mean, this thing just holds a spot, just a death grip on the meta and won't let go currently. Alright, down here, this is the best ship in the game. I don't want to hear it. Uh, Finalizer, it's just okay, man. Same thing with the Resurgent. They're just alright. Not really anything special, I'm not gonna lie to you. Why is this up here? Can you not get in? I don't know. Anyways. There's mid. This thing has the rate of fire booster. I really wish they kept it for the allies as well, but they don't. So now it's just forever stuck being mid. Not the worst, not the best though. Like we'll pull up its numbers, the finalizer's numbers. I don't think its DPS isn't listed, but I think it's like 7K, 7K. It's just all right. This thing is a stealth ship now. I don't know if I'd call it a brawler. Um, This thing, mid, they gave it this powered engines ability, which no one wanted it to have. Just terrible. I mean, it just does 330 DP HP. Is a brawler, which I mean that's on the lower end, middle to lower end for HP, I'd say. But then let's go ahead and gander at its DPS real fast. Actually, I think this one should be listed because the compeller is just one of the older ships. I don't know why this thing keeps absolutely pooping itself. Nope. No, it's actually not listed. The DPS is not listed, which is a fat rip. I think it's around 6,000. So it should be around 6,000 DPS, 6 to 7. Which is just, I mean, we're talking about comparing it to like 11,000, which is the norm for brawlers, and then it's just like you realize how poopy it really is. The Praetor. This thing also is subject to nerfing ever since it got the heal. It got the 500k HP. It got the bells and whistles, man. After being the meme ship, it came back with a vengeance as the hardest ship to kill in the entire game. Because for some reason they gave a ship with 500,000 HP, a self heal, and just absolutely nuts to the butts. Not damage. It didn't really have nuts damage, but this thing is one of the best actually effective brawlers because we've been talking about damage the entire time. But like I said with the new Desura, you can have it cracked out damage, but if you don't have cracked out damage without good HP, what's the point? You just die before you can use it. This thing, absolutely amazing. Now we get down here. None of these are brawlers. These are both not brawlers. All right, and we get to the last ship, which is, in my opinion, the best brawler in the game. And now, I'm pretty sure y'all all know why, since it's... Hold up, I want to see if this DPS is listed. I really want to see it. Oh, yes it is. 10,000 total HP, 11,000 shield HP. This is the Jormungandr pretty much DPS numbers, but with actually good shield numbers. And now, it's not like the new Desura where this thing is just like squishy, like just, I mean, you can kill it by sitting on it. Well, like, we got 275,000 HP. This thing has 400,000 HP. Like, sorry, 500,000 HP. No, sorry. I'm brain fart. Yeah, 500,000 HP just by chilling with no armor. And when you realize it has a 0.7 multiplier on all of it, other than up here, it just gets crazy. I mean, hold up, let's do some phone math right now. 275,000. Wait, hold up. 1 divided by 0.7 times... Okay, so it has 400,000 HP basically here. 600,000 HP. With the DPS of the Jormungandr, I mean, it's just the best. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's literally just the best, which is why it has a 300-second reload time, respawn time. I mean, like, in order to keep you from spamming it. The best brawler in the game is the Bellator. I mean, it's not even close even. I don't even think it's close between the Praetor in this or the Jormungandr in this. I mean, it just wipes out all of them. The only thing is, I think the Jormungandr is more annoying to kill, but this thing is more effective at its job. All right. And now, well, we skipped over one. The best brawler in the entire game. The Coem's Laser. I mean, let's look at this. Boom! A 40-kilometer range. I mean, just absolutely coked out. Let's see. Is this thing's DPS even listed? I mean, oh, it is. It is listed. Absolutely amazing. Oh my, look at this. Look at this DPS. That's basically, it has more whole DPS than the Bellator. I mean, and keep in mind, it has spinal lasers that can reach up to 50 kilometers, 42 kilometers, has amazing missiles. I mean, can even go stealth. It can even go stealth to a degree. I mean, it can't stealth itself, but it can make it so missiles can't hit it. And then you go, oh, 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 this thing has less it has less health than the new Desura, which has 3,000 more DPS than it, and also supports its team. Oh, 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 and a lower respawn time, by the way. And this thing is absolutely ginormous. And then you realize that it doesn't even it doesn't even get that damage most of the time, that DPS most of the time, because it has a damage modifier. So the closer you are, the more damage you do. Meaning that in reality, you're doing like 5,000 DPS less than the new Desura. I don't know what they thought with this. Not sure. Um, the only thing it was ever funny for was the fact that people kept spamming coems and it sounded like comes, and they made a money sign after it. And it was just a meme. It still is a meme because it's literally the worst tier 5 in the game. But anyways, so we're moving on to artillery. Now artillery, sorry for that long section. Artillery has a lot less of a impact on the game. Now this is going to be things with ranges from 40 to 45 kilometers. Alright, let's get into it. No, sorry, not 40 to 45, a brain fart, 40 to 50 kilometer range on its main guns. The Perseus, this is going to be a short one, is the best artillery ship in the entire game if we're talking about just absolutely annoying the shit out of everyone. 30% heal every 60 seconds with deflection armor. 46, 46.5 kilometer range, 44 kilometer range, 45 kilometer range. Does like 20,000 damage with this. Has decent missiles. They're not really that good. But also, oh wait, you take a look at its PD. Spacecraft, 50, 50% chance to hit. You have 6 of those. Oh wait, how long, oh, 1 second reload. Your Sentinels, look at this. This is some of the best PD in the entire game, other than, we don't like that, but it's whatever. It has absolutely coked out PD, has deflection, has a heal, and is hitting things with, oh, I want to see this thing's DPS, actually. I want to check in on this thing. Because it's got to be listed. There's no way it's not, yeah. Yeah. I mean, 6,000 DPS for sniping you with deflection and heal. I mean, this thing is just so annoying to kill. And then we get into the GP, baby. The GP. 6,000 kilometers long. Oh, wait, it has... Oh, the HP stat sucks. Oh, you get absolutely brutalized by any other artillery ship like the Thanatos. Oh. Well, I mean, at least you have good TPS, right? At least, oh wait, no you don't. And you might look at me and be like, oh my god, that's 1,000 higher than the Perseus. That's 1,000 higher than the Perseus that you were just dick sucking. Oh wait, actually, it has. Oh, until you realize that this thing has basically twice the HP due to the deflection, and even more than that because of the self heal. Even more than that due to the self heal. This thing you might be like is better on paper, but in practice, this thing is always going to be better in practice than this. Almost always. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get to keep the funny lasers that did 100,000 damage each, but because we can't have anything nice. And then we move on to the Anaconda. Now, this thing, you might be like, I'm gonna start shitting on it because of the low health stat, which is whatever. I mean, it does have low HP. But this thing, I mean, you just have to use it to figure it out why this thing is so good. We have basically hit scan weaponry on this thing that does 80,000 DPS. I mean, I have never met a better ship at absolutely just trolling frigates in my entire life. I've never seen a better ship at just trolling frigates, man. It's just absolutely, it's a unique type of ship. It's a unique type of ship at trolling frigates, which is why it's on here. It was one of the best, I think, artillery ships. And then Mass Effect, or sorry, Halo. I almost left it. Cubbies don't have one. We'll get into the frigates later and the stealth ships and the missile ships. Um, da 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 da. Hold up, let me just. Oh, oh, I broke it. Let me just. Oh, oh yeah. Oh. All right. Yep. So, anyways, yep. This thing is pretty much going to be the best artillery ship. Sorry to burst all bubble. I mean, we're talking about most of this is fighters. We're talking about 7,000 of that is fighters, but that still equals 7,000 DPS just from everything else, from your missiles, from your spinals. Your spinal DPS is just absolutely insane. And let's keep in mind here, your fighters are not just okay. I mean, wild, man. Seven. Anyways, we're not to the carrier section yet. I mean, but you get to. It's not like you don't get to use this. All of your fighters you get to use. I've been looking at the total DPS numbers for every single one of these ships. You get to use those fighters. And for dealing with frigates, I mean, it's just so useful. This thing is just so hard to beat. Also, because a majority of your DPS lies on the high end of the artillery, 50-kilometer range for the Mark 17s. Also have really, really good muzzle velocity. It's 52.5 actually. I don't even. Holy crap! And then you also get the smack, which is where did you see that? Oh yeah, on the sniper ship. You get one of those. So fun, so fun, and is also on one of the higher ends for HP stats. But it's not even about the HP stat at that point. It's just that it out damages everything. And since you're already at that range, it's not like the brawlers where deep or health is everything. Health matters less for the artillery ships than I think it does the brawlers in pretty much every single case. But you're still going to get hit, which is why the Perseus is always just so good. I mean, it's this thing and the Perseus which pretty much run the block, if I'm going to be honest with you. Mass Effect, Denali, 200,000 HP. Mad damage. I mean, not good damage. It's just okay. It's just a mid ship. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's just a mid ship. This thing, however, if you're trying to grind credits, if you are trying to grind free XP, this thing has a score record of 6.6 million. This thing with hack it out, three three times rate of fire booster, just absolutely shits on anything in the game. I like your team is just it's so good for your team that I mean it's not the best one by itself because you need to rely on your team and boosting your team, but it is really a solid ship. But I just can't put it at the top for artillery and specifically in specific. Sorry. SBY. Let's talk about artillery ships. And now, as you can see, my cursor slowly start to drift. Let's talk about the Seagull. I'm not sure if the Ethos Heavy. Yeah. It really comes into there. This thing, it's just outdated. 180,000 HP. The freaking shields respawns like super fast though. It takes 10 seconds for them to come back. Basically as tolerance. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just decent. Like you can on some maps like what map? Okay, we're on. If we're on Gateway, some people I've seen just pop up and down and up and down and up and down with the heavy and super heavies and just absolutely meme on everyone. But it's just an okay ship. I mean, it looks cool. It has a top hat. It's about where that's where about where it ends. If you want my opinion on it, this thing. That's all that I need to say is this thing. 225,000 HP. Oh, you were bitching about how that's not that good. 30% heal. has shield torpedoes. Oh wait, I forgot to mention, we have the same strike pulsars with nuke weaponry. Oh wait, I forgot. These shot cannons basically hit scan. They're also lasers. This thing can self-heal. Oh, and by the way, did I mention it loops? So fun. So much fun to play against this if you haven't been able to tell. Oh, let's also check out the PD. The PD. You might be like, 15% and 17.5%. That's not good. That's not good at all. What are you talking about? Oh, wait. Until you glance over and realize this thing fires pretty much 10 times a second. And oh, wait. It has 14 of them. 7 on each side. You're shitting. How this thing made it past testing is beyond me, honestly, to you. I have no idea. It might be the best ship in the entire game. I'm not going to lie to you. It might actually be the best ship in the entire game. There was a guy yesterday who I got mad at, and I brought out this ship, and he complained to me that I was getting salty, which I was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was getting salty, which is why I pulled out this ship. This is the ship salty players get out when they realize they're not good enough to kill a guy on the enemy team. Because it has hit scan weaponry with self heals at 45-kilometer range and coked out PD. I can't believe it, honestly, with you. The only thing that I also can't believe is this thing, which doesn't loop, but does more damage. So a lot more damage too. This thing, coked out damage. You trade, you have the self heal still. You do a ton more damage, have a little bit less HP. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What always gets me about this thing. This thing is a looping ship. Sorry for the map selection. This thing is a looping ship, which means that brawlers, they can't hit you. Or if they can, they have to manually aim. And if they're manually aim, it still means that they're hitting less of their shots compared to this thing, which does not loop and cannot hit as much of its shots. And brawlers will just absolutely tear you into pieces if you get close enough. This thing is just, we were talking about effectively better. This thing is just more effectively better than this thing in every situation. I'm not sure, does this thing still have the... No. Sorry. It used to have 47.5-kilometer guns, weirdly enough. That thing has been reworked more than any other ship in the game, I think. Really weird. Metallusa, it's alright. Has this funny. So, I mean, I think it technically has, what, 4 times 75. It really doesn't have that much HP, even with the cracked out armor, and then you have this 2 times. So you need 70,000, you need 35,000 damage to kill this thing to the hull, which is just a meme if you hit that. If you're in a Longinus, that takes 2 hits to kill. Sorry, 2 to 3. It's just a meme. You get these things, which are actually kind of coked out, I'm not gonna lie to you. You get 5 of these. And you get this thing, which does decent damage, but, I mean, it's just not that good. You just have to use that one in order to see it. The stats are just, it's just middle of the road, man, compared to coming off of whatever the hell this is, and whatever the hell this is. It's just not that good. Star Wars. Let me try and find. Okay, here we go. This thing. Let me pull this up actually, because this is a lot of weapons to look at individually, you know. So let's go. I always like to call this one the Luberator. It'll lube you up good. Yep. And this ain't like the Thanatos where it's like, oh, but it has 5,000 shield HP and all of it comes from bombers. No, bro. This is damage, man. This is damage. This is just damage. 4,000 of it comes from that, meaning we have 7,000 here and 8,000 here from lasers in your spinal and your missiles. Crazy. I don't know. The only thing that's bad about this is that it has, coming off of the previous 2 ships, a lot less HP than normal. It also has, I mean, 50-kilometer range, 45-kilometer range for those two. But a majority of its DPS, which are coming from these medium and smalls, do not have this range. You're probably only going to be hitting 5,000, but if you get close enough, you can defend yourself. And this, I mean, it's the beam weapon's super good. I'm not talking about this thing. This thing is just worse than the. It's literally just worse than this. This is just the direct upgrade. I don't know why this is a tier 5. They should just nerf it a little bit and make it a tier 4. Or just branch it off at least. Make it unique somehow. I don't care. But da 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 da. Those are brawlers. Da 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 da. We come to the scythe. Now the scythe, you look at that HP, and you look at the fact that, keep in mind, more things have shield multipliers, positive shield multipliers, than negative. And you think about the fact of how much stuff has good shield damage. Now this thing does have tolerance. It's mid tolerance. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just all right, but the health stat is just not there. And I forget what this thing's DPS is. I think it has these crossfires, which I think make up the majority of its DPS. Oh nope, not talking about the book. The book's good though. I read it a long time ago, but it was pretty good. Boop. Yeah, mid DPS. I mean, compared to the previous two that we were just talking about, I mean, it's just middle of the road, and not with that HP. I just can't recommend y'all get this as the best. I just can't say it's the best. Sorry. Now this thing. So now, not to brag or anything, I'm pulling out the nerd emoji right now, but I actually hold the score record for this ship at 3.7 million. Not to toot my own horn, but it's good, really good HP. Keep in mind that the rest of the artillery ships we were talking about have pretty much 200,000 HP on average. This thing is 320 with tolerance. Super good. Has the best anti missiles in the game. 75% missile hit chance with a 0.5-second reload. Does pretty good DPS. I think it might be around 5,000, 6,000. 5,000 to 6,000 for sure. Oh wait, shit. Yeah, no, sorry. Okay, yeah, 5,000 to 6,000. Sorry. I saw the fighter's DPS for a second in there, and I was like, oh my gosh. We're doing about 7,000 DPS, really solid. It's just that it's on the lower end of ranges at 42, which means that brawlers will really get super close to you, and you are 6 kilometers long, meaning that they'll be able to hit you from 39 kilometers away, which kind of sucks, but it's really good. Good damage, good HP, which is, it has good HP because it was meant for you to get in there and get nasty and start brawling. Now we get it to one of the funny ships. Now, you might be like, why is this a funny ship? We get 50 kilometer, and look at that damage. We get 45 kilometer, look at this damage, 4 of these, times 2. And I'm not sure, yeah, those were just 40. And then we get into 45 kilometers. We get into the ion torpedoes. And let me just go ahead. So this thing is a brawler masquerading as an artillery ship. It can be an artillery ship. As I just said, like all of its big weapons are all artillery ships. Like they're all artillery range things. They're all artillery range. Oh, please have it. And then we have this. Look at this. Look at this. It's crazy. It's literally crazy. That with 360,000 HP. This is why, see, look, if it comes from a fish, if it comes from a fish, or looks like a fish. It's just broken. It's just broken. It's literally broken. Now this thing is literally just a dreadnought scaled down, and you can tell. Oh, and have I mentioned yet? Let's look at the flak here. What? Some of the best flak in the entire game, bro, and you get 14 of them. Oh, and how could I forget? The anti-stealth you also get. I honestly forgot about this thing, man, but since most of it, by most of it, we're talking the large, mediums, and smalls, where a ton of its DPS comes from, I don't think I can put it as the best artillery ship, but for the best all-rounder ship, I mean, we're talking. We're talking there. If you want to call this an artillery ship, okay, it's just kind of meh. We operate at 55 kilometer. It's just kind of a worse Harmon. I'd call it more of a it's more of a missile ship with it's just weird. The Donager and the Harmons are just weird, man. You get the nuke, you get this thing is much more missile focused instead of ultra heavy focus compared to the Harmon. And I just don't think it's worth it. They're pretty much just the same thing, so I'm not gonna count that, to be honest with you. And so for the best artillery ship, we're putting the 222 up. Literally just coked out. I mean, I'll make a video on this thing and it'll just impossible to kill. But since that thing is a limited, the Perseus is the best one that's here year round. Now the best support ship. Now, with the new aeurus ships, sorry, I just clicked on that. I don't know why I thought that this was an aeurus. We get things like the Maharabi, can't move, worth the shit. We get things like the Raya, can't move with the shit. Now, support ships, I'm counting as things that can heal, but not dedicated healers, like this thing. Like, we have 900 that HP. Like, this is just a brick wall, okay? That's what this is. This is a brick wall. Hello. It is a brick wall. I think this thing literally has the most HP in the game at 960,000. It's just crazy. That's right. The best support ships in the game. I might just cut this one short and just say no, I can't. I can't. I have to. So, okay. Previously, I would have just been like, alright, that's the Aquarius, done and dusted. But since they removed its interdiction, I don't know, it gets a lot more competitive. Because this thing, while it has the Blackbirds, you get that sweet hot EMP that with the 64,000 damage multiplier, which means it only does 6,000 damage. It's kind of shit, I'm not gonna lie to you. 6,000 times 10, it can do 64,000. Coked out. It used to be coked out, now it's just kind of meh. It's alright, meh. Used to be the best support ship. Now I'm looking around, I see Fields of Blue. This thing sucks. I might talk about it in the frigate section, but it sucks. These reloads are way too long to make them useful. Um, its ROF boost is 10% compared to everything else, which is normally 15%. This thing just dies instantly. Support ships, support ships, support ships. I don't even know if there's a ton of support ships in the game, honestly. I might put the Raya. It's not a very competitive race. I might still put the Aquarius. Looks like it's Star Wars. Star Wars has the most ships in the game. I should always probably start here, but whatever. This thing kind of sucks. Looks like a turd. Um, the Mon Mothma is kind of. This thing's kind of good. 15-15, unlimited projectiles. Eh. Right now, I'm considering a battle between the suppressor, just because this thing can defend itself and actually use its interdiction. The only thing is it does not have the best interdiction, because it's 8-second duration, 25-second cooldown. The Mon Mothma is just better. Um, I need this one to stew in my noodle a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I think I'll still pick the Aquarius, man. I mean, look. I think, in my opinion, rate of fire boosters will always be more useful than interdiction, right? And since this thing has the rate of fire booster, it has the good shot cannons, it has the graviton spread, it has great point defense, it has the 10 blackbirds, basically a carrier, can loop. I mean, I think my vote just goes for the Aquarius, man. I always see this thing and I want to kill it. Alright, now we get into the spicy one. We get into the carriers. We get into the carriers. Now, before I... Okay, look. I was not playing at the time that the Apocalypse was absolutely coked out of its marbles. I was not. So I can't comment on that. I think it just had absolutely crazy interception. Um, but alright, so how I like to gauge things is how good are they in practice. Now in practice, so let's look at this. On paper, the Arc Royal X has the highest DPS for any ship. Um, sorry, for carriers in the entire game. Now, that is until you realize this thing has absolutely dog fucking shit HP for its air wing, meaning that these die before that they can get to the enemy. And their range also sucks. The Hydra, on the other hand, doesn't need to worry about getting to the enemy because they can fire from 12 kilometers away. It can fire from complete safety. Most ranges on point defense, we're talking, are sub 10. You just get to fire for free. It's Havoc's most of its damage. 7,500. That's most of its damage right there. This thing is just the, this is just a meme. It's not very good. It's just a worse version of the Hydra. They're pretty much the exact. These are just kind of the exact same right now. DOS, not sorry, not the DOS. The DDS super fast aircraft. They just don't do them. They're just the respawn timer being at 45 seconds. It's just too much. It's just too much for the bombers. I just can't, in good conscience, um, make this the best because you can't use it. Like you can't use these for very long. And it's still a tier 4. It has that tier 4 HP. The Hydra can still defend itself because it has these things from 46 kilometers away, even if you get into the thick of it. The only thing is that thing's massive. Now it gets SBY. We are talking about the Arc Royal thing's absolute dog. It'll get dog walked by any single interception carrier. This thing's interception is the most overrated thing I've ever seen in my entire game. So it's the most overrated thing I've ever seen in my life. This thing's interception. It doesn't have good interception. Oh yes, it does. Is it the best? No. So if it's not the best, why would I use it for interception if the only thing it's good at is interception? If you're going to use it for interceptions, then your Garants, just with the drill bombs, just go use this. And the good thing, there's already a better ship with Garants. This thing. Better HP. I would say you get that third Garant. Better at bombing. I think this thing is just it's just better. I think it's just better than the Daryl. I really do. I really do think that this thing is just better than the Daryl, bro. You get less of the bake, which is where all your interception comes from. But man, that Garant, man, puts in work. It puts in work. You can't. It puts in work. I just gotta say the new ball gray is better, man. You get the spinals. I mean, it's just better, man. The Apocalypse absolutely coked out of its mind. The small lasers that can dual purpose, meaning, let's check here. I mean, 0.15. This thing is, it looks like a disco is going on. I'm not trying to reference the actual disco music that the gay lances have, but the carapace, super good. Anti-ship missiles, super good at interception. I haven't used it since it's got nerfed, or since it got buffed really, but really good. Excubator, I think it's the most air wing HP in the entire game, but there was something with it where the bombers weren't acting right. Like, they weren't actually firing. I don't know if that got fixed or not, but since I don't know, I'm just gonna say it's not good. It used to be super good because it could brawl super well, but ever since the rework, meh. This thing, I think this thing has the best interception in the entire game. I think it does have the best interception in the entire game. And it's absolutely cracked. I think it's like 960 or something like that. Again, I don't know how much the Apocalypse was, but I mean, the interception is just wild. This thing, absolute dog. It's never been good. The only thing it's good is that it looks like a toaster, and everyone likes to joke about making bread with it, and that you can actually go inside of it, because that is actually modeled the inside. So you can actually go inside of it with a small ship, which is funny. Not gonna lie to you, it's pretty funny. Um, the Radis. Okay, guys. It's just the best ship in the game. I mean, let's look at the Star Fortress. I mean, let's look at this real fast. You get 6,000. You get, I mean, it's so good. It's so good. It makes me cry, to be honest with you. It's so good that it's so good that it's just, okay. It's actually the worst 2-5 in the entire game. I know I said that about the conditioning, but what purpose does this thing serve? This thing actually cannot regen its shields, unlike our friend the MC-85. It cannot regen its shields unless it is using its ability, the shield recycle, which has a 90-second reload but gives you all of your HP back. This thing is just largely useless. You're not using it. I don't even know why it has this. Why does it have this? I mean, you look at this, you go to the Star Fortress Heavy Bombers. Oh my gosh, like, let's look at how good they are. I mean, look at this. This is good until you realize they're slow as shit. These things are 50 meters per second faster than the actual meme ship, than the meme anti anti stealth on this thing. They're 50 meters per second faster than this, and this was put in as a meme. Like, it's not it. Let's be real, it's not it. Let's look for the blue diver. This thing, this is in my running for the top best carriers of the entire game. Has four of those 45-kilometer guns. Has those absolute cracked out guns. The battlefield ions. Oh, I'm realizing I completely for the artillery forgot to talk about the Starhawk. Don't worry, the Starhawk used to be good. Now it's mid. There you go. Sorry. Okay, let's return your scheduled programming. Um, Blue Diver, super good. Just really solid ship. Good tolerance. Good, good air wing. I mean, it's just a super good ship all around. Lucre Hulk. Now, I always get flamed every single time I say this in the Discord, but mostly because the Discord is filled by autists. But the Vulture droids are the best interceptors in the entire game. And you might be like, why are the best interceptors in the entire game? They don't have the most interception DPS. Well, you might ask, and I'll answer you. It's because they have a 7-second respawn time. Guys, let's put this in perspective. Your goated interceptors, like the Apocalypse, are only good at intercepting when their aircraft is up. Let's look at the Apocalypse aircraft for a second here. Let's look at these respawn times. Carapace, respawn time, 30 seconds. These are up 4 times as often as those are. Those are up 4 times as often. They are better at intercepting because they are up more to intercept. It's not rocket science. People always get mad at me every single time I say that. They say I'm retarded. True enough, but it's just best interceptor in the entire game. Case closed. Don't have a just don't have a carrier. I mean, the Expanse is the forgotten tree. Let's be real here. All right, now my pick for the best carrier in the entire game. I'm picking the Hydra. I'm picking the Hydra. Has a great weapon, has great range for all of these. Has good interception, good HP, can defend itself, good PD. It's just solid. It's a really solid ship. It's just a really solid ship. Now we're getting to the little bit of the shorter ones finally. Stealth ships. Let's get into the stealth ships. All right, and I'm not talking about the spec ops carrier with no stealth. Sorry, I raged about that. I was so mad that we didn't get a stealth carrier, but whatever. It's pretty simple. Um, we have oh. How could I have forgotten the carriers? The goated carriers, the Thermopylae and the Punic. Oh wait, this thing sucks. This thing absolutely sucks. Its PD's good. Its PD's really good. But the Kindles, they suck. The longswords, they're alright. The broadswords, they're also just okay. It just gets, oh, I don't know, outranged by the Hydra, outgunned by the Hydra. I think it actually does have better DPS. But when are you using this thing's Spinals? When are you using the Smacks? Tell me. Go ahead and tell me when are you using the Smacks. When are you using this thing on a wide open battlefield? If you have to use this thing on a wide open battlefield, oh, I don't know, maybe you should realize you're absolutely cucked. Because you're about to get incinerated instantly because of this thing's low mobility, low speed, and low HP. You're just gonna get absolutely slammed. This thing sucks. It's so overrated. So overrated. This thing is a battle carrier. It's a good all-rounder. I would never pick it as a good straight-up carrier. It's an intercept carrier. It can intercept some people, but as we already said, the Lucrehulk is better because, okay, let's check these respawn times, 30 seconds. Let's check these respawn times, 30 seconds. Lucrehulk is always going to be better. You get those 2 nukes. You can defend yourself if people go over. It's one of the better carriers. I'd say it's one of the better carriers. Poseidon. Okay. This one's interesting because I actually did forget about this one despite the fact that it is the best anti-shield carrier in the entire game. And now, if you stick 3 of these on top of each other, and you go over here, and you get someone to run this, you will one-shot every single ship in the game. You will just one-shot every single ship in the game with this thing. I would say, if not for the Hydra just being... This thing... The Hydra can do more damage, which is why I think I put it as higher. Now, this thing does great burst damage with the Rudras, but it only has a couple of ammo for him. These things, only a couple of ammo for him. It does its job, goes in, and gets out. However, the Hydra can mess some shit up. It can do some damage. So I'm not changing my mind. However, this, I think, is probably going to be your second best carrier in the entire game. Alright, getting back to stealth, I got poor Stanley. Look at that. Look at that forehead. This thing, okay, sorry, I got distracted a little bit. We'll count. I guess we'll count. I'll do a little separate section here because there's only 2 stealth brawlers. It's gonna be the Titan and the Alfie. The Titan's better, I'll just tell you that. The Titan is the better stealth brawler by far than the Alfie. The Alfie is way too big, takes too long for the stealth to recharge. Like, this thing is massive. The Titan's also massive, hence the name of Titan, but it's rather thin. Like, it's thinner than the beak, I think, of this. And then the heavy neutron cannons that do 325 damage. You're shitting me. This is not very good, in my opinion, Alfie. Anyways, this thing needs a retune or something. Onto the dedicated stealth ships. This one doesn't have one yet. The Erebus, super good. I think it was unreleased one-shotting MC-104 shields, which were the strongest shields for the majority of the time in the game. It was one-shotting them. This thing, this thing is just a troll, man. I don't know if because remodels can make the ship worse or better depending on how it shifts its profile. I think this one made it just it's a side grid, I think. But this thing has always been great. Now this thing is just a meme. Let's be real. This thing is a meme. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this, unironically, ever since it got changed. This thing is, if you know who APB Lockdown is, you know that this thing is a complete troll, and if you have someone who actually knows what they're doing, it is the best stealth ship in the entire game. However, if you do not have someone what they're doing, who knows what they are doing, this is in fact not the. It is one of the worst ships in the entire game. I can never get it to work. I have under 1,000,000 HP on it. I know that some people can get it to work for them, but I would say it's not very user friendly at all, and so I would not say it's the best since it takes more skill to use. Hey, if it takes more skill to use, then it's not the best. That's my opinion. It can be the best. It's just not. The UX-01, this thing's an absolute troll. Really good because it's some of the only thing. I think it's one of the only ships, other than the Stealth C, that its nukes are manually guided, which are really good for hitting weak spots of armored ships. But it's just a tier 4. If I'm going to use this thing, I'm going to use this thing. It's just the way it is. Star Wars. All of you who saying Star Wars, it doesn't have a stealth ship other than the Titan, I would like to introduce you to the GOAT himself. The four quickfire proton torpedoes himself. Alright, sorry about that. Brain fart. No, I'm just kidding. Someone talk to me. Anyways, yep, this thing's a complete beam. I don't know why they did this. They should have made it a little bit. They could have. There was a way to make this a tier 5. I want the tier 5 IPV 2C stealth corvette. All right, give it to me now. You make the UX-01 a tier 4, and you give our only stealth ship, make it a tier 2. Are you kidding me? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? The best stealth ship is the aeurus, man. It's just so good. You have the interdiction. It's just a solid ship, man. It doesn't take nearly as much skill as SR2, which could technically be better, but I doubt it. APB is an absolute wizard with this thing, so much so that I hate him to the end of the earth. I hope he never plays this game again. I'm just kidding. It's a fun game. Alright. Now we get to the frigates. The frigates are the things I'm going to say are small, less HP, and loopers. Like these three. But not these two. These two are huge. They are not frigates. Starting with the brand new Hyperion. This thing is mid. It's just mid. It's not very good. I don't think so. I don't think these are very good missiles. Not very good missiles. This thing is pretty good. The hard light repeater is pretty good, but you have to shift yourself head on in order to use it. And if you have to shift head on in order to use it, I mean, that's when you're going to be vulnerable. That's when you're going to get missiled into oblivion. That's when people are going to notice you. It does okay damage normally. I mean, I'll have to make I'll make a video on all of these. I think probably if I continue this. Yes, the only other frigate. This thing we talked about it earlier. Too long of reload on its really solid weapons, and I mean it has really good PD. Is what I'd say if the Gallarhorn didn't have better PD, just objectively. This thing is meant to be a command cruiser with a good PD and a good ROF, but as one of the worst RFs in the entire game. Halo, this is where all of our good frigates lie. Warrior, absolutely cool. It is It's a great ship. I don't know if it'll be the best. This thing's a missile ship. This thing is a missile frigate, actually, which is a unique role as far as I'm aware, which makes it the best missile frigate because I'm pretty sure it's the only one. Endless, I think currently in the current meta, it's just a worse than a warrior. Has the hyper scanners, has the nuke. It's good for trolling Erebus and stuff like that. Other than the fact, oh wait, the Erebus can one-shot it with the nukes, especially if you manage to hit the Mac if this thing is flying straight at you. None of it is hard. This thing. All right. See, here's the thing. I want to call this the best frigate in the game, and I will call this the best frigate in the game, and I will call this the best frigate in the game because it has 90,000 HP, which is really good when you consider the fact it has absolutely cracked out damage. These things do like, do they still do like 6,000 damage per second? I think they do. They do like 6,000 damage per second. You get nukes, or the equivalent of. This thing is goated. 12-second reload on 14,000 damage. Absolute crazy. Anti-stealth. Decent missiles. The UNCF missiles are never very good. Good point defense. Has an air wing, which keep in mind, most of these frigates you can kill them by putting your air wing on them, which is most of the time how you kill them. Because you can hit them with your lasers, and I guess you can hit them with missiles, but if this thing has an air wing and good PD, what are you going to kill it with? They had to nerf this thing like 40 times off release. I don't think there's any here. I don't think there's any there. The most forgotten ship in the entire game, Rasharia. It's alright. It's okay. It's kind of mid. It's just alright, man. I really wish this thing was better, man. Especially since it used to cost 50 million credits, which I have 8 million currently, so that's a troll. Used to cost 50 million is crazy. I don't know what they were thinking when they did that. There's only one here. The Victory 3 is our only frigate. It's good. It's really good. It's just okay though. I really want something that's not okay. It has a good air wing, but your point defense sucks, which is bad. You don't want your point defense to suck, because when your point defense sucks, that means you just get missiled into oblivion. Boof. I can see the smoking Victory 3 corpse going down like that. And I think that's pretty much our only one. Yeah, I think that's our. Oh, how did I forget? People were nutting over this thing's model for the first few weeks of the Star Wars update. It's okay. I would pick the new. I would pick the Hyperion over this, the new ship. They're both kind of similar. This thing has more HP, a lot more HP, but has worse. Um, it's a lot fatter. It's a lot bigger, and you need to be head on in order to be hitting your big charged turbo lasers. So it's just kind of okay. Good model though. The Rocinante and the Rocinante refit. Probably the most annoying ships in the entire game. I'm not going to lie to you. Literally the most annoying ships in the entire game. You get that 50, is it 50%? No, 80% self-heal. Which it's not a lot because you have 50,000 damage until you realize you get this point defense with an 85% chance of hitting. A 10-second reload, admittedly, which is not very good. You get 6 of them though, so you're guaranteed to shoot down some missiles from that. And then you get these. Your Rocinante PDC. 40% missile accuracy and 28% spatial accuracy, with 8 of them fired per second. You're kidding me. What were they thinking? Oh, and you get nukes and heavy torpedoes. The only thing that's keeping this thing from being at the top of in my opinion, is the fact that it doesn't do the most damage like the Defiant can do. The Defiant can do cracked out damage, absolutely just insane damage. So for the frigates, I'm putting the Defiant as the best. If you're looking for something that's still in the game, this got. I don't know if this is still in the game, honestly. I thought it was unlimited, but it's not saying that it was. I don't know if this was taken off sale, but if it has been taken off sale, I would say that the best is going to be the Warrior. Alright, and now for missile ships. We have a couple of missile ships in the game. This was an event ship that everyone hated for a long time. I said was balanced. And would you look at that? No one uses it anymore because they removed one nuke, and then they realized that it was it was good, but since they removed the nuke, it's just awful now. This thing really good. There's no missile ships here. Technically, actually, there is. How did I forget the ballista? No, I mean, support ships are those ones where you can get away having a tier 4 be the best one. But if we're talking missile ships, it's just, no, this will never be the best one. I don't think there's any, I really wish aeurus had a good missile ship tier 5, but this doesn't. The Everest in the air, we already went over that. Mangonel, more of a frigate than I would care compared to anything else. SBY has Gostock, which, where is it? Ah, yes. 75,000 damage per 150 for the two. This is, quite frankly, a meme. However, it is a meme that I get hit in the face by almost every single match, unfortunately. This thing is a really good one. It's really good. It used to be super bad, and then they added the ultra missiles, and it got crazy. This thing is absolutely, it's just really good, man. Star Wars. So now we're gonna get into the in practice versus on paper. On paper, the S Astra is the best. 300k HP. Like, these are both nukes, and they're really good too. I think this thing can hit numbers up to like 200k. This thing can hit numbers up to 300k, but that's only every 90 seconds. This thing fires every like 60. So over time it'll be better. But the Tyrant, I would say the Tyrant is the best missile ship in the entire game because heavy concussive missiles 70 kilometers. Only really nukes can get up to that range later, and the diamond borons only have 60 instead of the 70. But the diamond borons also have like instantaneous muzzle velocity. Thing has good HP, can defend itself. It's just the best in practice. Like on paper, something else might be better. But this thing in practice, I've seen the best scores, the best runs, the most annoying to kill. And now the Expanse actually does have something, the Triple E. Now, you're looking at this thing. We have 225,000 HP. This thing can loot, but I recommend it. No, not really. Can have upwards of 500k HP, but not really. More likely 300. It's okay. I'll say that. It's alright. The railguns are okay. But the range on the torpedoes, 55, 50, 65. These are the ones you're going to be using all the time, and you have to stay within 55 kilometers. Do you know what within 55 kilometers is? You're going to get absolutely anal raped by every single artillery and every single sniper ship in the entire game. And you're going to die. That's how it's going to go. So I can't in good conscience put this as the best. I'm going to put the Tyrant as the best. I'm putting the Tyrant as the best ship in the entire game. Now, what would I say is the best overall ship in the entire game? Out of every single thing in the entire game, I would say that currently this is the best overall ship in the entire game, which is the winner for the artillery ships, which is, I think, honestly, the most competitive category other than the brawlers. There are a bunch of mid brawlers and the Bellator, which is obviously the best one, but this thing is fighting with the GP, the Perseus, um, I'm brain farting, the Blue Noah. The Blue Noah is also super good. It just has a lot of tough competition, and this thing just shines above all the rest of them as the most annoying ship currently in the game, and as such, I'm going to put it as the best ship currently in the game. And I think that's all for the video. I hope this recorded right so I don't have to redo it, but yeah, that's it, y'all. See ya.